All right, let's jump next to the Patriots. The Patriots are up next here. When you look at what they did, we all know 8-9 a year ago. The Pro Football Focus roster strength is 18th in the league. So they're telling us that the Jets roster is at 7. The Patriots roster is at 18. Again, I think that's a little bit too bullish on the Jets. I think the Patriots might be a little bit, lower than I would anticipate, but not by much. I look at the Patriots kind of in the middle of the pack. So anywhere from 15 to 18 is fair. I think the Jets are a little bit overrated by Pro Football Focus, but Greg, the PFF biggest strength this year is really following the narrative we've heard the last several weeks, which is this team's defense.
Yeah. Let's play a little game of let's go through these and give our own take. So PFF says biggest strength in 2023 is the defense. I say, well, that's pretty general, but so I'm going to go their biggest strength is going to be the ability to mix and match at safety with different things. We've talked about it, Marte Mapu, Kyle Duggar, just their ability to match up, I think, is much better with different offenses and different styles of offenses. To me, that's their biggest strength. What about you?
Versatility kind of goes in line with the amount of options at safety, but I think they have a number of guys that can play different roles in this defense if they want them to. They can deploy them in different ways, which I think they will. So the versatility kind of stands out to me on that side of the football. I know you said last pod that people kind of overrate the idea of changing things pre-snap, post-snap. But the versatility is a big check mark for this team. Yeah. And I think we go back 2 or 3 years ago, that wasn't necessarily the case. The more athleticism that they've brought into this program, the better. So I would say their biggest strength is going to be their defensive versatility. Biggest weakness, Greg, PFF says wide receiver.
Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets.
I disagree. I think it's offensive tackle.
Yep.
By far. I mean, I think they're, like we've said, even if they don't add DeAndre Hopkins, I still think they're decent enough between receiver and tight end, like the different, whether you're running 2 tight ends and 2 receiver or whatever, they have enough to make it work. I think it's clearly offensive tackle where, as of today, considering the last time we saw Trent Brown and what kind of shape he was in, they don't have one good starting offensive tackle at left or right tackle.
I agree with you. Offensive tackle scares the crap out of me. I hope Trent Brown comes back at training camp and looks like he's lost some weight. You brought up Mekhi Becton, the Jets. He's lost a ton of weight this offseason. And you would hope that Trent Brown would have the same kind of urgency as Becton for different reasons. Becton's trying to prove that he should remain in the league and be seen as a top tackle as a young guy. Trent Brown should be motivated by a contract that he can get. One guy showed up looking motivated. One guy showed up looking like he was waiting for the next sandwich and couldn't care less about what was happening. So hopefully Trent shows up in shape in a couple of weeks and we're seeing a different guy. But I agree with you. Offensive tackle is the biggest concern to me, and I don't think there's a close second. I think it's an obvious number one. They've got issues at both left and the right side. The X factor, Pro Football Focus says Mac Jones, Greg.
Disagree. Look, I think, Mac Jones, given a real offensive coordinator, we know what I think he has a pretty high floor. Like, you know what you're going to get at the end of the day, and he could be much better. So, he's going to get them in and out of good plays. He's going to deliver the ball on time. Like, I don't worry about Mac Jones. To me, clearly the X factor in this season is Trent Brown. Like, what kind of shape is he going to be in? How long is he going to be on the field? How is he going to play? Like, there's so many things that play off of that. Like, if he gives them a good representative play at left tackle, you could figure out right tackle. Put a tight end over there, chip, spin the dial in terms of what you're doing. If you get good left tackle play, if he doesn't come through, it's going to be uphill sledding for the whole offense, let alone what Mac Jones does.
Yeah, I'll go a little outside the box as well, and I talked about this in a weird way. you might look at Ramondre Stevenson a little bit just because, can he shoulder the load? Are the guys behind Stevenson ready to step up? Can Ty Montgomery stay healthy?
No, I was going to bring that name up too. Ty Montgomery. He could be.
Yeah. So, you look at the wide receivers too with the health, right? Let's paint the worst case scenario. If you're dealing with injuries at wide receiver all season long and you don't bring in DeAndre Hopkins, which I'm still hoping they do, but if you don't bring him in, you're going to rely a lot on this run game. And there's a lot of unproven dudes in that backfield. So Ramondre is going to have to be a 1,500 yard back, a guy that's going to be able to give you a ton of carries and a ton of touches. And last year, as I mentioned on the pod last week, he did slow down at the end of last year, and he was talking to the broadcast teams, about 3/4 of the way through about how he was feeling a little bit run down. He was a little bit tired. So I think, if those receivers don't step up and stay healthy, all eyes are on the run game because then that will help also protect Mac and the offense. So Ramondre could be very big this season.
Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets.